Oh, hello. Good evening and welcome, valued podcast listener. I didn't see you come in, mainly because I had my back to the microphone. Hi. I realize it's been a long time since I've recorded anything for you, and, you could go ahead and blame me. I'd like to blame the schools, though. They're the ones that taught me to be this way. So since we've last talked, I've moved to a brand new catatorium. You might be able to tell by the way the room sounds. I know you're thinking to yourself, it sounds different. It sounds like he's out of that old catateria and into a brand new catatorium. Either way, the room's full of cats. I got 3 cats here still. And, I mean, I couldn't think of a better way to live. Maybe, with less cat smell. Maybe. The catatorium move wasn't the only new thing that happened in the last little while since I've recorded another podcast for you guys. I actually got off my lazy butt and pulled the trigger on this whole coffee thing. I've launched the Dark Roast Cult Morning Coffee, our very first blend of dark roast coffee. It's available on our website. You can go to darkroastcult.com, darkroastcult.ca. Yeah, you could even go to morning.coffee. I'm pretty sure that'll take you to the same website. We're doing the coffee on a pre-order basis, which means that when you place your order, I'll be holding off to actually get the coffee roasted until I have enough orders to necessitate an entire shipment of coffee, which, ensures that everybody gets their coffee the freshest it could be, because it's essentially roasted to order, so you'll be getting it days after it's roasted, hopefully, with the mail system willing. Ancestors give me strength. I'm gonna get you the coffee as fast as the mail system will allow me. So go check out darkroastcult.com and see what we got for those of you who are thirsty for eternal darkness. We got coffee in full pounds and half pounds. What else is new? So the plan here was to just throw to this podcast and be done with it and be in bed, as it's almost 2 a.m. for me right now, but I didn't want to go another show without at least acknowledging what's been in the news recently. I've been waiting, for something crazy to happen. I wanted to wait before I mentioned this so there was something to mention, but we for sure have got to talk about these monoliths that have been popping up all over the world. They're 3 meters in height, they're 3-sided, 2 of those sides come to a point and they're highly polished. They're exactly what you want to picture when you picture a monolith rising up out of the sand in a desert. It's very Stanley Kubrick, Space Odyssey-esque monoliths. So, when I first saw this in the news, I, like most other people, I'm sure, thought this is going to be either a viral marketing campaign for a movie that's out, or maybe some sort of anniversary of Space Odyssey. I looked it up. It comes out on April 3rd, so we could potentially be seeing more monoliths popping up, leading up to maybe April 3rd, but again, it's 1968, so that's not even a big year for anniversary, I would say. Very mysterious, very curious as to what this is all going to be leading up to, whether it's a big hoax to sort of get everybody's minds off of 2020. Maybe we're bringing in 2021 with a great big silly hoax. Get everybody jived for the new year, maybe? I'm not sure. I'm open to hear what everybody's thinking. If you want to tweet at the show, Instagram the show, we got Facebook. Let's hear everybody's opinions. I've also opened up a YouTube channel for the show, youtube.com/I have no idea, because you need a certain amount of followers to be able to get a custom URL, so maybe in the show notes you can go check it out. I'm going to be posting the show there, and I'm going to be putting ads on it, so if you want to see the show, if you want to hear the show ad-free, this will be the place to do it. Your podcast provider, hey, how's it going? A little plug. Anyway, back to the monoliths. The first monolith appeared in November 18th. It was discovered by people in Utah who happened to be counting sheep herds in a helicopter. It was apparently removed for environmental reasons. There's a video found on TikTok of individuals tearing it down I don't want to get into the environmental reasons because I think they're kind of silly and they just wanted to use the tearing down of the monolith to prove a point. Kind of rude. I mean, what if aliens put that there for us? That's our monolith. That's everybody's monolith. You can't just take monoliths you find. That's all I'm saying. I got a lot of monolith-related opinions, and I'm ready to let them out on the show. Gotta have a drink here because I can already feel the mouth sounds coming. So, on the same day that monolith disappeared, quote-unquote, was torn down, a second monolith appeared on the other side of the world in a Romanian town. At some point, apparently, it moved to an old Romanian fortress, which I think, given the time period, most fortresses are probably old or old-timey in some way. That one then disappeared on December 1st. The third one appeared on top of a mountain in California, which was then vandalized and replaced by a giant wood cross, because people are cool and great, and, I'm sure that's way better than a shiny metal peg in the ground. Good job. Good job, everybody. I'd also like to point out that the first monolith was very smooth, very reflective, whereas the one that appeared in Romania was sort of unpolished, had a lot of, it looked like buffing circles on it. Now, the third one was highly reflective as well, so I'm not sure if maybe the second one might have been a little bit of a hoax, as it was different. But, again, the fourth one that appeared, it appeared on the Isle of Wight, which I guess is in England somewhere. It is only 8 feet tall, where I guess the other ones were closer to 10. So, again, that one's a little different in its own way. Why they're all different, who knows? I'm excited to find out. I'm going to keep reading the news, hopefully keeping you guys updated on everything Monolith. I'm going to give you guys the 411 on everything Monolith, whether you like it or not. Welcome to my show, The Monolith Show. Alright, so after all of that rambling, we can finally get down to the podcast, which is an old podcast. I'm going to be reposting an old one, which I'm so sorry you probably just sat through all of that, and now you're going to be hearing a podcast you probably already heard. But it's not for you, it's for the new people who haven't heard it yet. Not only is this a previously released podcast, back when we had a different name and a different format, this is actually probably the first podcast that I even recorded for this project. I'm scripting a bunch of new episodes of the show. I'm going to be releasing them in the coming year, and I have 2 old episodes that I haven't aired yet, or at least re-aired. So I'm going to be re-airing those leading up to the new year, which, well, I will be hopefully releasing new episodes on a pretty regular basis. So I'm going to throw to the show. Don't forget to check out darkroastcult.com. Get yourself a pound of coffee and maybe a cool t-shirt or something, and I'll see you guys soon. Just think of it as a necessary evil. Like, I gotta get all these old episodes out before I can get these new ones out, so they have something to land on when they fall out of me. Anyway, enjoy the show. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's a podcast. We're going to be talking about the paranormal and all that. I wanted to start off this podcast by picking something to talk about that is brand new to me, and hopefully brand new to you guys as well. And that's kind of a hard thing, because this is my thing. I really enjoy, I don't know if you know this about me. Oh my god. I enjoy cryptids and aliens and all that creepy stuff. I mean, who doesn't enjoy creepy stuff, right? Anyway, so I wanted to pick something that I've never heard of. I wanted to pick something that I didn't know about. Hopefully it's something that you didn't know about, and you'll learn something, I'll learn something, we'll hear a story, and it'll be great. So what I did was I went to YouTube, and I searched paranormal documentary, because I figured there's a lot of them out there. Oh, yeah. A little water there, sorry. I figured I would find something new. There's got to be so many on there. And I scrolled through, and the first one that kind of jumped out to me that I've never heard of was the Flatwoods Monster. I saw a documentary trailer for a documentary called The Flatwoods Monster, A Legacy of Fear. So of course, that sounds great. Problem was I couldn't find it. I went on YouTube, I searched the whole title, I looked for it. Turns out this monster has been referenced in Zelda and Fallout 76 because that's all I really could find. There was a couple people who had already made videos on it, whatever. So I went to Vimeo and I rented the documentary, which is something I never thought I would ever have to do in my entire life. I rented a documentary off of Vimeo. Wow. This is the time to be alive, really. But I wanted to check out this documentary in particular because they talk to the survivors, the group of people who were there. And I don't know how often that really happens where you have like a cryptid or like a monster and like the witnesses are still alive to tell their story. I'm doing air quotes because, I mean, I'm not here to like debunk anything. I'm just here to read an awesome story and hopefully give you a little couple spooky chills, and then later at night you'll hear a creak and you're like, shit, it's the Flatwoods Monster, and you know what? I'm not ready to die. Anyway, so the Flatwoods Monster, aka the Green Monster, the Braxton County Monster. It's got a lot of names, but I'm gonna call it the Flatwoods Monster because that's how I know it. Anyway, so I watched the documentary. I got the story, and then I've been checking out some other people's videos. We'll talk about that after. But right now, for your consideration, the story of the Flatwoods Monster. Oh boy. Okay, I've got my my Mr. Brown canned iced coffee here. I think we're good to go. Our story begins September 12th, 1952, Flatwoods, West Virginia, a small town. A group of friends, including Freddy and Edward May, are playing at the park at a local grade school when they are witness to a large fireball that streaks across the sky and seems to descend gracefully on the other side of a ridge about a half a mile away. After little deliberation, the group decides to investigate on the chance that it's a meteor and could possibly contain gold. Because why wouldn't you? Gold is so valuable. You can sell that for cash right now. The journey to the landing site took them by the May family house. Freddy and Edward May ran inside to grab their mother and tell them where they were going. Their cousin, who was staying there, tagged along. The group, accompanied by mother and cousin, made their way to the landing site. The ridge that would be the landing site for what the boys saw was on a hill at the end of a long road on the property of the Fisher farm. Whatever landed on top of the hill was glowing orange and could be seen from a distance, so they knew they were going in the right direction. But by the time they had reached the foot of the hill, it was already dark. They began their hike toward the summit of the hill. A thick mist had formed amongst the trees, and they described a sickening smell of sulfur. When they finally got to the top of the hill, they were met with their glowing object. It was the size of a house and in the shape of an egg or saucer, which I don't know if you know this or not. They're not shaped the same at all, but okay. The whole thing was surrounded by mist. They must have been mesmerized by the glowing object and the smelly mist because they almost didn't hear the sound coming from behind them. As they turned to look at what they'd just heard, one of the boys aimed the flashlight into the dark, and for a brief moment, they caught a glimpse of what was behind them. The beam of the flashlight illuminated a 10-foot-tall metallic creature hovering in mid-air with glowing eyes. The creature was black, green, red, and everyone who witnessed it described it as being mechanical. It didn't have discernible legs, and I'm looking at a picture here, and honestly, it looks a lot like a sex toy. They wouldn't tell you that in the documentary, but trust me. The creature has a pointed head that is shaped like a spade, with a round red face and eyes that are illuminated. Some of the group described the creature as having claws, while others made no mention. You would think that whether or not a creature had claws would be the first thing you would notice, because they're usually swinging them at you, but okay. What they did agree on was in that brief moment in time, while the creature seemed to be going side to side searching for something, when it locked its gaze on them, it focused a light out of its eyes like beams, made a hissing sound like frying bacon, and began gliding towards the group. This caused the kid holding the flashlight, like a pile of dominoes, to trip over the kid behind him, dropping the flashlight as they all ran off. The group ran all the way back down the hill, jumping a fence, and making it back to the May family house, where they called the police, who didn't believe them. Bunch of track stars here running for their lives. My God. The more I read this, the more I'm realizing that, there's some holes here in the story, and even when I was watching the documentary, I noticed that there was some holes, and, I noticed that all these guys were, they're older guys who were alive in the 50s, and they were old enough to have memories in the 50s, so who knows how old they are now. They were old, and their frames of reference to describe what things looked like was also old. I think one of the guys described the monster as looking like one of the missiles that Germany dropped on England in World War II, or something old like that. Good God. They also estimated the height of the monster based on the tree that it was behind or near or in front of. A farmer who lived not far away said that he saw that bright orange light on top of the hill, and he watched it as it slowly got more red and dimmed until it winked out. And he didn't call a dang nobody? Just see something that could potentially be a huge fire, and he's just like, you know what? We're gonna let this one burn. To hell with the fishers and their rolling hills. But this story actually does have a second witness. On the same night in the same area, a family was headed home after visiting someone out of state. They were driving down an old West Virginia road when their car stalled for what seemed to be no reason. That's bad news. That's bad news. Well, first, why are cars always stalling at the most inopportune times? Driving down an old West Virginia road? Nah. No. The car's tapping out right there. Anyway, so the driver tried to restart it, and as he did, he started to smell an odor a lot like sulfur. Uh-oh. Getting out of the car to check to see what was wrong with the engine, he noticed a glowing object in the forest by the road. And as he walked toward it, and why wouldn't you, the smell got so bad that he got sick. And as he turned back, his wife screamed, so he turned around to see what she was screaming about, and wouldn't you know it, the monster was right on his tail. So he ran back to his car, just making it just in time to lock the door and get his family in a huddle on the ground. And I guess that's the monster can't see you on the ground, so he's not going to bother you. Is this Jurassic Park? It must be Jurassic Park. He too describes a green, black, and red creature with no legs. Its bottom half was one piece, and it was hovering. No one can really clearly describe the bottom half of the creature, but from the drawings and the pictures and what they said they saw, I get the vague idea that it appears to be like a metallic drape flowing sort of around the bottom half, or it's some sort of just big metal stump that somehow allows this creature to hover off the air, right in the mid part of the air. Not the bottom or the top part, but right middle air. The next day, the National Guard was called in, and I believe it was because there was reports of things shooting across the sky. Apparently, that night there were a lot of meteors that went across a couple states. So I guess there was also a downed plane that people were investigating. But when they searched the farm and the area, the only thing they found was flattened grass, as if something had landed, and the grass was also covered in an oily substance. Later, Miss May reported that she received a letter saying that what they had seen on the hill was an experimental aircraft, and apparently was threatened not to tell anybody. So a few days later, she went on TV and told her story. Once the media picked up the story, it started snowballing, and they added a lot of lies into the story, a lot of false reporting. I wrote here in quotation marks,
just trying to sell some paper. But some of the things that were added into the story later were reports that the monster was fire-breathing, 17 feet tall, produced an acidic mist, smelled so bad that it left you vomiting for hours, and the weirdest one, according to the documentary, this is a lie added in. It's such a weird thing to have added into the story, because it really didn't need this, but the part of the story was that they brought like this dog with them, and about halfway up the hill, the dog ran all the way up the hill into the mist, and when they couldn't see it anymore, they heard it let out a huge howl, and then saw it running back down the hill past them. And when they had gotten back to the May family house, they found the dog dead, having thrown up on the veranda, which is really specific. That's a really weird lie to add in there. I don't even know what a veranda is, but if a dog threw up on mine, oh, let me tell you, whew, boy. Anyway, so that is the story of the Flatwoods monster. I couldn't find any more information on it, no other encounters. So what do you guys think? I want to know. I've made an email, so you guys can email me, creep@shrugsquad.com. That's creep@shrugsquad.com. That'll go directly to me, of course. And yeah, I want to know. What do you think of the Flatwoods monster? What do you think it is? I want to know, have you had an experience with this monster? If you're listening right now, are you a liar? Do you lie to people? Don't lie. Anyway, so I want to hear some of your creepy encounter stories, and you can send those my way, and maybe I'll read them in a future podcast. Give me your theories. Got a suggestion? Got something you want me to do for the podcast? creep@shrugsquad.com. You can check that out. Send me an email, and I'll read them. Anyway, I've got some theories here. I've went online and I've read them. Give me a second. I'm going to take a sip of this crisp, refreshing water. By the way, have you guys drank water today? You should drink some water. If you're listening to this in the car, pull over to that 7-Eleven right there and pop in, grab yourself a no-name water, because I don't care what kind of water you drink, and then drink it. Oh, are you in bed? Don't pee. Some people are saying the Flatwoods monster isn't a metallic being at all. It's a metal suit being worn by an alien, and apparently someone once reported seeing it without its upper half on. I guess because it's a suit, it could take its upper half off, and inside of the suit was a reptilian humanoid. At least the upper half was. I'm not saying the lower half was something else, but I mean, you didn't see it. It could be a little giraffe body in there, you don't know. Other people are saying that it's a drone sentinel doing reconnaissance. And I mean, it's a lot. It's not a lot. It's two things. But okay. Well, let's do a quick recap on what it looks like. You've got a pointed ace of spades shaped. It looked like a hood. To me, it looks like a hood, like a ceremonial hood that you might see in Star Wars. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, it's pointed, and then the being actually has like a red, like head shape. It's like it's very human, and it's got these two glowing eyes. Then the rest of the body, besides maybe claws, is supposed to be like this flowy green stump half of a body, which the features of the head at least resemble a lot of a female barn owl. If you've ever seen a female barn owl, they are large owls. They're much larger than the male female barn owl. It's the female barn owl is a lot larger than the male barn owl, and it's got a reddish brown face with these two great big eyes. And to be honest, the whole shape of the head resembles a lot when a barn owl's doing its defensive position. It puts its head sort of between its legs and points its back end up, and oh god. Let's just do a quick recap of what they're saying this creature looks like. It's got this I want to say it's a hood. It looks like a ceremonial hood that you would see a character wearing in Star Wars. It's big, it's black, it comes to a point at the top, like the shape of a spade, if you've ever seen cards before. It's got a red, round head with these great big glowing eyes. And from that point, there might be claws. We don't know. Nobody really knows. But the bottom half is supposed to be like a flowy green, like cloth or stump. Nobody can agree on this. Anyway, at least the head. The head resembles a lot of a barn owl in a defensive position. I've watched some videos online, and a female barn owl will defend its nest by taking a defensive position where it takes its head and brings it down between its feet and then sticks its back end up way up in the air, which, by the way, comes to a point to appear bigger, I'm guessing, and it has its claws out. Owls have such long legs, and I think people forget this. Their legs are real long, and they've got claws. And as they're doing this, they kind of shift back and forth, side to side. And to be honest, it's disgusting looking. And did you know that owls hiss? Owls hiss. The female barn owl has a reddish-brown face, and it is a massive owl. When you actually see it, they're much bigger than the male owls. And I'm not saying it's an owl, but guys, it's probably an owl. The descriptions are so vague of this monster. I think I'm going to have to agree with a lot of people when they say that this is probably an owl. And it's up in a tree somewhere, which made it look like it was hovering. And I guess the theory behind it is that in the distance there might have been like a green bush that kind of lined up to the bottom half of the owl, so it looked like one creature in like a brief glimpse. Because all they got was a brief glimpse. There was just the briefest of glimpses at this owl monster. It seems like it might have been an owl. There was no other account where this monster's been seen, which leads me to believe, guys, again, this might have been an owl. I don't want to debunk things. I don't think that's up to me because, frankly, half the time I want these things to be real. I don't care. Would it be a much more interesting world we lived in if there was monsters floating around and they weren't just owls in bushes? But did we debunk this one? I think we might have. I think it's guys, you could chalk this one up to owl in a tree. So, in all likelihood, these people probably startled an owl and ran off when it swooped at them. Or they happened upon an owl that was already startled by, I don't know, a meteor hitting the earth. Or, heck, who knows, maybe a hillbilly's moonshine distillery just exploded, startling this owl, which then swooped at them. They probably ran off later, were like, you know what, dang, that was probably an owl up there. And, well, obviously they didn't want to look silly, so they're really sticking to their story. That's my theory. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a sucker for those ghost shows where people tell their ghost stories and then they have terrible dramatic reenactments that play alongside them. They're good. I'm not in it for the dramatic reenactments. I don't care because they're never spooky to me when I see the people pretending to be scared by a floating doll. By the way, why is the budget always like 7 bananas on these shows? Why is there never they never make it look good anyway? I listen to the ghost story. I'm just down for a good ghost story. I don't need the visuals. But there is this one episode of this one show, and I think Jay showed it to me a long time ago, and it's always stuck with me as like the silliest ghost I've ever seen. It was a show on A&E. I think it was just called My Ghost Story. And it was an episode, I don't know which, but if you search My Ghost Story haunted giraffe statue, there's 2 minutes of footage on YouTube from the show where it's supposed to be like real life. We caught it on camera, and it's so silly. But the story is this guy gets a giraffe statue from a friend who went to Africa, I think, or he went to Africa and brought home this giraffe statue. Oh, turns out it's haunted. No big deal. But they would put the statue at places and it would move throughout the night. So they put a camera up, and there's this 2-minute clip of, it's like a living room. It's just a regular old living room. There's a door in the far corner. And there's like a shelf that kind of blocks the door in the far corner. But the point is, you watch and you see like this giraffe statue just slowly slide out from around that shelf. And then for 2 minutes, it just inches its way out, just inch by inch by inch. And then it wobbles, and I think it falls over. And I don't want to say that I'm a skeptic, but I'm not convinced of the statue being haunted. I'm sorry. Oh my god, it's 1:17 p.m. in the afternoon right now, and I am drinking these Mr. Coffees. It's Mr. Brown iced coffee. I don't know why I keep calling it Mr. Coffee. I think that's something completely different. These are they're Mr. Brown iced coffees. They come in a can, and you can get them at sometimes you could just find them randomly at grocery stores. I don't understand where they come from. I don't want to read the can to find out where they come from because it's too good. And I don't want to know that they're straight from Chernobyl or something like that. I can't get enough of them. I gotta go to work in 20 minutes. That's the biggest bummer for me right now, is having to go to work. And that's such a complaint that I shouldn't be making because not everybody can. I mean, I'm sure not everybody wants to, but anyway. Right now I'm currently working in a car parts factory. That should horrify you to know that it's my job to make the parts of your car, and these cars are hurling down the highway at hundreds of kilometers per hour like little heat-seeking missiles that I built. So I mean, and the tone of my voice, it should let you know how confident I am in my ability to make car parts. I really, and even if, oh God, if, you know what, listen, I hope my employer is listening. Why did you hire me? I hate my job. I mean, I'm sure everybody else hates their job. I'm just gonna sit here and complain about my job for 15 minutes. How's that sound? I'm kidding. But yeah, it's just a lot of the same repetitive motions, and you don't even get a chance to think to yourself about anything in between motions. So it's just a lot. It's I feel like I'm going to jail for my brain every day for 8 hours, and all I do is in between looking at a piece of metal and going, this looks like the last piece of metal, I hope that's okay, throwing it down a conveyor belt. I'm always I want to do something. I gotta create something because I'm gonna go insane if I can't create something. I have about maybe 3 hours a day to myself to make anything I want. I gotta create something. So this podcast, I'm hoping, gets to fill in that creative juice, because I like podcasting, and I don't always want to wait for Jay to podcast. Jay, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry, man. We are two busy boys who are busy boys, and we got to make that honey. We got to make that honey and drip it on the queen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we have another podcast. If you had no idea, we have another podcast. It's called This Again. It's on iTunes, and it's just my friend and I complaining about being alive and meaning it most of the time. You could check that out. But yeah, I just need to do something. I don't have the space currently to make a video, just to chill, oh guys, I'm vlogging, look at me, I'm having a great time. And 80% of the time when I'm getting ready for work or coming home from work, I'm too tired to be a happy guy and be this is good. I like making this video. I'm not making this look sad at all, because I've tried vlogging in the last couple months. I've been like, I will vlog and then I'll just start talking about how much I hate my job, which happened here not long ago, and it's just like I don't think anybody wants to watch this. So I started a website. It's called shrugsquad.com. You can go there and you can check it out. There's going to be videos. There's going to be links to this podcast. You can get both podcasts. You can just listen to them right there on the website. There's links to the Instagram where I'm uploading like Photoshop. I have some fun with Photoshop when I've got the time, and you can buy shirts. So if you want to check it out, there's gonna be shirts there, all kinds of stuff. shrugsquad.com, a little project I've been working on, and I'm enjoying it. It's coming along. Oh boy, I went to a haunted corn maze not long ago. It was this weekend. That's what I did, and it was fun. I've not had a chainsaw waved inches in front of my face in a very long time. I recommend it. Shout out to Custerman's. It's a berry farm for most of the year, and then they grow like corn specifically to like mow a maze through it, and it's horrifying. Like, I understand that a lot of people can't get into it because it's like, oh, I know they're just people, but like when you're in the thick of it, when you're in that corn and it's like pitch black, and then like a chainsaw starts up behind you, like what are you gonna do? Not run? That's not horrifying. It was good. I took a GoPro into the corn maze, and there's a haunted house there too. I took it into the haunted house, and the footage is a little dark, but I got some creepy stuff. I might try and upload it to my main Instagram if you want to check out instagram.com/mattg124. That's my like personal Instagram. You can go look at that. I might upload it there. It was pretty scary. A lot of the time it's me laughing though, because I went with my girlfriend and her friend, and they were screaming and running, and it's just really hard not to laugh when you're watching somebody chase somebody else, because they haven't seen you because their mask just has tunnel vision. So I'm like 3 steps behind them, and they get chased, and I just enjoy watching them run and scream, and then I awkwardly have to step around them as they realize that I was behind them the whole time. It's good stuff. It's a good. I don't know. Does anybody? You have anything like that around you? I would love to do like a tour of haunted corn mazes just to see how crazy people get. I know there's like haunted houses where you sign like a waiver, and then they dunk your head under oil for like 45 minutes and scream swear words into your ear. Like, that's not scary to me. Being almost killed. That's not, I mean, that's not the kind of scare that I like. I like the kind of scare where it's like, oh, it's just a dude in a mask. Ha ha. Nobody's gonna, I don't know. Maybe, does that make me a baby? I only like the chainsaws being waved in my face. I actually don't want to taste them. Right? That seems like a baby thing. Yeah. Oh, something else I'm also interested. Email me if you guys got a good horror game. I've been looking for some good horror games that are coming out. There's the Predator Hunting Ground, which sounds like a pedophile thing. It's not. It's, remember the Predator movie? Arnold Schwarzenegger? Oh, get to the chopper! That one. They made it into a video game. I'm pretty stoked on it. Friday the 13th, since that game is in the dumper, I think, currently. They're in the middle of, like, a legal battle, because I don't know. I just kind of stopped paying attention. But the same company... I'm guessing they've just kind of reskinned the game for Predator. I'm into it. I don't care. Still going to be an amazing game. I'm going to check that out. That's what I'm looking forward to. As for horror movies, I think I've seen It. I went to the theater, saw It 2, It 1 and 2. Not consecutively, but, you know, certain... Anyway, I saw as Annabelle as well. The new Annabelle, is it Annabelle Comes Home? Is that what it was called? That one was totally a solid movie. I recommend it 100%. If you haven't seen Annabelle Comes Home, check it out. It 2, good movie. Annabelle Comes Home, better movie in my opinion. That's just me. What's your favorite horror movie? I want to know. Barn owls, man. They're gonna come look in your window at night. And I want to know about that too. Does anybody have an owl? What other creepy things do owls do? I feel like we should know about this. We should get a big list of traits that owls have, and then we'll just slap it on every cryptid, ghost, alien story we could come across. Like, look at, that's an owl. We got like a template. Owl behaviors. Anyway, guys, this has been Creep Encounters. I hope you enjoy it. If you have a suggestion for the next podcast, shoot it my way. I've got a couple that I'm going to do. I think you guys are really going to enjoy them. Well, that's it. That's the entire show. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming around. Come back next week where hopefully we'll have a brand new one for you. I want to thank my friend Andrew for making all of the things that you heard today that weren't my voice and this squeaky office chair. In fact, if the squeaky office chair ruined any of this podcast for you, I'm going to blame the entire thing on this office chair. So if this podcast tanks, it's the office chair. Anyway, I want to thank Andrew. Facebook.com/ghosty. That's ghosty with 3 A's. I think it's pronounced ghostay, but we'll figure that out. GHOSTAAAY. That's Instagram also at ghosty. Go tell them thanks for making the music and all of that. And you know what? If you just check the description, the footnotes for this program, you'll find his information there too. Easy linking. Okay, guys, thanks for listening. Don't forget to check out the website, send me an email, and enjoy yourself. Good night.
Hey everybody, me again. Just want to say thank you for listening. Thanks for following the podcast. If you're new, don't forget to follow it however you can on YouTube, or right now it's on SoundCloud. It should hopefully be everywhere else as soon as I can get it there. I wanted to give a big shout out to my friend Andrew, who I was listening to him live on Twitch. He was playing some guitar. I want to give a shout out to him for making all the music for the show. So you could check out him by checking out the show notes. I'll be putting some links to all of his social media in the description, as well as to the YouTube channel, because we got a YouTube channel, and I feel like everybody needs to have a YouTube channel. It's like a social insurance number at this point. If you don't have like a Facebook and a YouTube channel, you're pretty much off the grid. Get out there, enjoy some coffee, and I'll see you soon.